are you ready for this last topic?
Si, senor.
Because I don't know how this is going to go out, because I don't know if you're going to agree. Oh, wow. 2-2.
The Dodgers.
So this last topic was something I saw on Facebook. What I thought, like, oh, this would be good to talk about. I think it would be interesting. I don't think it's getting a lot of light. Also, or it's not
true.
It's not getting.
I didn't hear anything about it until you sent this to me.
Yeah, and I thought, like, whoa, we should talk about this. It's something interesting because there's a lot of good arguments that are being made. But what we're gonna talk about is, what was the title of the thing that you wrote? What's it called? You wrote it. No, the title of this. What is this? Music. What did you write?
I put music isn't. I don't even remember.
I can't even read this.
Dust.
What does that say?
Music isn't protected for individual chord progression. These were just like notes of like points I was gonna make.
Okay, read that again.
Music is not protected for individual chord progression.
Okay, but into the mic.
Music is not protected for individual chord progression.
Okay, so
I don't know what that has to do with what you're going for, but there you
what
go.
I'm going for is that's probably where we're going to get to. But it's been a recent development in the dances in Fortnite and the origin of those dances. The creators of those dances have come out and then also been supported by other big artists and are wanting to be compensated for what Fortnite has done and has done a pretty good job with. They're called emotes in Fortnite, for context. They are things that you do, I don't know, for fun, to make the game fun, I guess.
Yeah.
So what you do, you do that and you do a dance, and Fortnite has done this with other popular dances. One thing to note is that most of the popular dances I think they've taken them from have changed the name of the dances. And I'm not sure when that tweet was or when they started to kind of come out with this, but basically a lot of people are getting mad in this certain community. I think they label themselves the hip hop community, that it's black appropriation to this, and then also that they're not getting paid for these kind of dances, I guess, or creative movements. I don't know what you want to call them. What I thought was interesting about this and like their arguments, and some of it makes sense. Some of it I'm like, I have a little bit of empathy for it, because there's no clear line on these type of dances, because these are kind of different from what the video said about how choreography is protected, but it has to be like a certain amount of like,
has to be like a series of motions.
Yeah, a series of motions where you're taking steps basically, and the Millie Rock, which really isn't a step dance at all. I mean, you can step with it. I don't know. Do you know what a Millie Rock is, right?
Nope.
Okay. Well, it's
not by name anyway.
But yeah, but you saw the dance. Like it was the Swift one. I think
okay.
That's what they called them. That's what Millie Rock. And then the other one was the Jump Man, I think it was what it was called. And it was one where everyone's kind of
jumping on one leg.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And how they kind of don't. They have. I mean, that one has a little bit more. That actually has steps technically, but it's not really. I don't. Maybe because of the way the choreography thing works, you have to use like both legs or something like that probably. But it's like not defined for those kind of dances that are kind of. In my eyes, they're kind of like meme dances, honestly, and that's like what we're like looking at. And like there's like other dances like what was the other one? The Whip and Nene are similar as well. The Snoop Dogg one, the like windshield wiper one.
Yeah.
In like one of his iconic videos that he did with Pharrell, like those don't really have moves either. Or footsteps.
Hotline Bling, I'd say, is another one.
Yeah, Hotline Bling is another one where he kind of steps, but I'm pretty sure Drake.
That and the like.
Yeah, and then Drake probably did something to protect that. I'm not sure if he's going to compensate it, but a good argument that they made is, hey guys, we created these dances, there's no. You guys are changing the name, obviously, which is, I mean, kind of makes sense to do that. I think it's to protect the company, but they made the argument, but you kind of had a counterpoint to it. But okay, if you're gonna put our dance in there, call it that, and then also put our music in there. But then you made the counterpart, you're like, well, you can't really play some of that music for rated E,
Right.
for a rated E game because some of the profanity obviously used, and it makes sense to not have that. They would have to basically bleep out some words. You said like probably like there's some songs where you probably have to bleep out 5 words, which makes sense. So like, okay, you can't really have that counter argument from their side. And I don't know how you would compensate for them. Because like when you think about it, when you do something like this where you have to like kind of copyright it, if there was like some kind of law for that, it would kind of be how like they did to like the happy birthday song, and how in businesses where like, oh hey, it's my buddy's birthday, and they bring him a cake or a piece of cake, they can't even sing happy birthday. And like that's like what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, well, we're taking all the fun out of that stuff. And I also think of like all the YouTubers and all the like the Viners that were basically making money off of this too, on how they weren't really being accused like this. Because what you really have to look at it, obviously looking at it like someone from like the hip hop perspective, looking at it like this, like, whoa, dude, they're stealing our stuff. Like, why is this happening? But what they really don't know is like this stuff has been happening for a lot longer, like the emote stuff. And some of the dances have been basically taken.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure what the first game I saw emotes in that you can do.
I would say long before Fortnite was the first Destiny.
I want to say even like probably maybe like a decade ago. There's probably a game in there that I'm not thinking of. I know the Call of Duty games definitely had that kind of stuff. FIFA has had the celebration. So when FIFA you score a goal, there's certain celebrations you can like basically hit, and then you basically do that celebration. But are you gonna check see if they get paid for that?
I just thought of like a better way of. I was going to look up something about Michael Jackson again.
Okay. Also, he looked up something about Michael Jackson. But basically, they've done that in FIFA too, where they actually changed the name of some of the celebrations.
I did look up earlier the FIFA thing. I couldn't find anything that said that they paid that they paid Griezmann for his like
yeah.
thing or anything like that.
But it's also exclusive
or like
to him.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, it's like weird. Because I don't know if it is, because like when you look at it, when the dude was in the Drake song, he's kind of getting exposure in a way. You know what I mean? He's getting that popularity. He's not getting obviously the whole, piece of the pie, but he's getting that spotlight. And obviously through both of those guys, like the Millie Rock was popularized through Rihanna, like the video said, and then the Jumpman was popularized through Drake's video, like they said. So do they want like if they want something for compensated, I think they need it from everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
How do you like you can't just go through like one avenue of these video game stuff that have been doing it for years already, and they've been doing emotes, and there's been similar stuff like this that's been going on. You can't just go through like to do that for this one thing. You have to do it for like everything then.
I agree with you. I think that this has become a thing in part because of only because of the success that Fortnite has seen.
Exactly.
Because I guarantee you there are other things that have like probably even some of those same dances in them that like aren't being targeted.
Like FIFA had Gundam Style, but they didn't call it Gundam Style in the game.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah. I was also thinking of like I mentioned Destiny like had emos. They had like the Thriller dance, which is like a very obvious like thing. And I'm sure they have many other like dance moves. I think they had Hotline Bling in there too, like the Drake thing. So like I wrote some notes here just as like kind of talking points that I thought of as we were like watching that video and like while you've been talking as well. So like the last thing that I wrote down actually was that the fact that Epic Games like changed the names, especially if they were like known names to the dances, like that to me at least implies that they're protecting themselves against this very thing, that like they know that it probably is a gray area, and so like that's how they're protecting themselves is by changing the name, because like as the video states, there's no specific copyright laws for like individual moves. It has to be like a sequence of moves. So what I would want to see first is like if any of these people that are complaining even tried to file copyright on their dance moves. And they would also have to be able to prove that like they're the originator of it, which in some cases will be probably pretty easy, but in other cases might be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
And then like other things that I have written down here are that like music is not protected for individual chord progression. So like you can get hit with copyright if it's like if there are like large chunks that appear to be taken from like another song. I think Ed Sheeran not too long ago had like a big controversy of like him pulling one of his like sampling too much of like one
song.
I think he actually lost that lawsuit too. He had to pay someone like a couple $1 million or whatever. Yeah. So like and then similarly in like written text plagiarism, you can't go after someone with plagiarism for your single words. Like it has to again be like large chunks. Although there is a little bit bigger of a gray area in like written word where it's like you can get hit with plagiarism accusation for like you're not even using the identical words, but like the thought and like the idea. You can like basically you're plagiarizing an idea, if that makes sense. So like you could write a paragraph on like Fortnite and like I could change all the words, but it conveys the exact same point, and like you could come after me for plagiarism.
Yeah.
So like there's both of those things to take into account is like other types of expression are not protected in this small of an instance, as like the video said. So like a single instance of like this dance is like not like I would say the Thriller dance is a bigger example of like a series of moves that's like very obvious. Like it's not just like the arms like up in the air, like it is a whole thing with like the clap and like the head shake thing and all that. So do you get what I'm going?
Yeah.
You have like kind of like a confused look on your face.
No. I'm processing everything in my head because you're saying everything kind of fast, but you're good.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I did look up. I tried to find if FIFA pays like players or pays anyone for like the celebration things. I couldn't find that. And then I tried to look up if Michael Jackson's estate earns any money for like the moonwalk or the Thriller dance, and I couldn't find anything that says that they did.
So like it's not
for
looking
that.
good.
So yeah, so it's not looking good in that thing. And like I said before, I want like they would have to prove that like they originated it, which in some cases will be difficult. And then like they have to get over the hurdle of it being like just a single move. But another thing that they would have to prove, see what happens in copyright things like this is that someone is making money off of something, and then someone else uses it in a way that helps them make money. So like why, like FIFA, to go back to FIFA, like all the EA sports games have a soundtrack, and all of those artists are paid to put their songs in the game, and it's because the game, like you adding in that music makes the game more, have a higher entertainment value. Like EA is actually profiting a little bit off of the fact that the music is in the game, so they therefore have to compensate the artists, because, which they do, right? Because like they are making money off of something that someone else created. And I understand, so I have like players make money, so like sports players make money on their image and their likeness, so like players in FIFA, or like, you know, the cover star on Madden, like whoever it is this year, I don't know, Antonio Brown or something like that. So like he got paid to be the cover star for Madden. Musicians make money on lyrics or musical composition things. So like they are profiting off of what they made. I don't know that any of and also like artists make money on like their paintings and images and stills and stuff like that. I don't know that any of these people would ever be able to prove that they're making money on that dance. They're making money on the song for sure, but and the majority of their money is going to come from like nothing to do with the video.
Yeah.
It's going to come from like Spotify and streaming services and people buying the albums and stuff like that. So like I think they would, where it's a sticking point for me is like they're not going to be able to prove that they're making money, therefore they're not going to be able to copyright it because it's not proprietary. Like they're not making money off of it. And therefore like legally anyway, Epic Games is not in the wrong. I do have, like, all of that being said, it's a great, now that I've been made aware of it, and like, cause like I had no idea that like, that those dances, like I don't listen to any of that sort of music, or like I had never seen any of those music videos before.
Well, if you, hang out with Rodeo when he gets a little tipsy. Millie Rock will come out.
So like I honestly had zero idea that like those were just straight pulled from like things like that. I honestly didn't know.
Yeah.
So like while legally I don't think Epic Games is in the wrong, like by the letter of the law, it feels slightly unethical, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cuz like in all appearances like they did just pull this from the thing. Now like I don't, as I've stated, like I don't think that these artists have any way of like fighting that.
Mm.
And you talked about like them like, oh, we'll like add in the songs, and like we talk like why that's not going to work.
Not gonna work.
At least probably in most cases.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's like it honestly it could go either way, and I'd be like, okay.
Well, another thing too is when you think about it, it's like a saying like, "Oh, what's up?" Like back in the night, like I think it was late 90s, like "What's up?" Like the guy that invented that, like he's not gonna get compensated for that probably. And then, like when you look at what the video already showed was a kid recognizing Snoop Dogg's dance as a Fortnite dance, and you're starting to see the departure of what those dances like originally were, and to see, like you said, like if you can't even prove that you're even selling it, like. I don't even know how you sell a dance. That's what I'm saying. It's like a weird thing to sell.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the dance be popularized through a video game, but it's also, I think the video said like, oh, it was making the game more popular. I don't think it makes the game more popular. I think it, like you'd even know that it was like.
No, I understand that, but see, I didn't know the origins of those dances, but like I came to know those dances because of the game, and I like.
But do you because you can't even look that up because to see how much more popular the game is through that.
Yeah, it would be like it's impossible to quantify like 100%, but I think that like we go to Angel Stadium and we see like kids doing the floss on like I guarantee you there's like some other kid. I know it's kind of like. Fortnite is so big now that like everyone knows about it, but like I guarantee you at some point there was like another kid in Angel Stadium watching the big screen and seeing that kid do the floss, and he was like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
And then like he finds out that it's from Fortnite, and then like maybe he gets into Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like I would say that that's possible, that like it is spreading the brand a little bit just because of like how big it's become.
Yeah.
And like there are whole like YouTube videos and everything. Like there are people that are directly profiting off of just like making a video of them doing the Fortnite dance moves, like that sort of thing. So like if they could ever prove that like they were making money or like they originated these dances, like legally set a precedent for that, then like I would have no problem with him like being compensated.
Yeah, and there's also like different type of ways of Millie rocking too. So it's like it's a little weird because the way I'm not sure. The variations of the way he does it, but because people do it kind of differently because they have weird kind of rhythm. They're not all the same, so it's kind of a dance that kind of like it's unique to a person.
It's
so
like individual, like stylistic.
Yeah, so it's that's even more of a great. It's like whoa, like you're just going. I think the Millie Rock guy, that's like an overstretch. The jump one's a little bit more, or less kind of. I've never seen anything like that, but
yeah, because it's
like
definitely unique.
Because the only thing I could think about the Millie Rock is there's another dance back in the day, or not back in the day, but like 10 years ago, they go teach me how to Dougie, and it kind of had like it had the same kind of arm motion, but it kind of came up over your head, and that was like when I saw the Millie Rock, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, okay. It's like kind of like a really short Dougie, I guess, that doesn't go up, and you're just like waving it right here. Yeah. That's what I thought, like in my head when I first saw it. So. You can't make cases. I feel for the Millie Rock guy. I'm sorry, but I think it's kind of like a lost cause. You just got to run with it. Like, hey, if anything, make a deal with Fortnite to say, hey, can you put my name on there? If not, then yeah, he's basically. I think he's screwed.
See, but like the moment that they put his name on it, now they have to compensate him because like it's his name.
But I mean, if Fortnite,
which is why they're not going to do it. I'm not saying like they should or shouldn't.
But
like,
I mean, like Fortnite's made so much money, I think they would be like, hey, you want $1 million?
Has capitalism taught you nothing?
I know, but would you like? Let's just say that the Millie Rock guy, would he take $1 million just to put his name on the damn dance?
I don't know, probably.
I mean, what would be your number?
Would Epic Games do it?
Okay, but what's your number though?
Probably less than that, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm saying like
I know,
if
yeah.
they throw like a bone at him, then yeah. But I don't think they're gonna.
Another one that I thought of too while we were talking about this is the Bernie. The Bernie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like another one that was.
But that's
big.
like that's from a movie that someone made into a dance. So it's like, well, it's the movie. It's the movie for the guys.
Yeah.
No, I mean in Thriller. I mean, there's dances that have more kind of.
What if they did this to like planking?
I don't know.
It's like an endless gray area. You could constantly come up with things that was like pop culture fads that like originated with something somewhere.
But I just don't want it to
went
like,
viral on Vine, and now everyone does it.
Yeah, I just don't want it to get it. I understand like you created this, but I don't want to get it to the point where someone does it like they did the birthday song, and where
yeah, I understand.
You can't do that stuff.
Like I said, the biggest sticking point for me is that like they would have to prove that they are profiting on that dance by itself.
Yeah.
Which I don't think any of them would be able to do.
Yeah. I mean, they made them pop. Like, I didn't know who any of those guys were. Like, the actual guy that made the songs, I didn't know, like, where they were from or the area. I just know that they've been referenced, like, they showed in the song about the songs. But other than that, I didn't even know who created it, so. It kind of sucks for them, but they probably should have capitalized on it too. I don't know. If anything, if another artist creates a dance, or thinking about creating a dance, maybe this should go straight to Epic's Games. Like, hey guys, I got this cool dance for you guys. I'm gonna make it real popular. But like, you can't even do that either.
Cause Epic Games wouldn't use it. They'd have to pay you.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. It's just a weird topic because we talked about like the legal part really. And like what they can't do, but people are still gonna be like, nope, they should get paid. They should get paid. It's like, well, that's not how it works. It's just like, there's more people complaining. The only real thing, or actually, the only real reason I mean, I'm not gonna get racist right now. I don't think. I hopefully not, or I don't think I'm gonna offend people. If you're offended, that's kind of on you. But when they said, like. This is another thing that goes back to what I said in the last podcast about Columbus and how, like, I'm American. Like, when I look at, like, I mean, maybe some black people don't look at them as Americans. They're like, oh, I'm African American. I'm like, I look as another, like, dude, I think you're American, man. I don't. It's these labels that are separating everyone that I don't like. And I wish that we can, that's the thing I want to do is get away from labeling a thing like, oh, that's an Asian thing, oh, that's a black thing, even though I mean privately I'll like joke about that in my head or something like that, but like I don't really mean it. It's just a stupid thing to say, but I don't say it out loud. I mean, sometimes I do, but I'm not doing it to offend anyone.
But it's in the context where everyone knows that it's a joke.
Yeah, but also it's just, I wish we can move away from that, and that's an American thing. Like jazz, that's an American thing. That's, I mean, yeah, it originated in like Harlem and those areas, but that's an American thing. That's America right there. It's a positive. And I get like how African American communities have been credited for stuff, but like I said, I look at them as Americans. I don't look at them as African Americans. That's just me. I'm a nice person. I think, right? I mean, was that racist? Did I say anything racist?
I don't think so.
I don't think. Okay. Well, that's it.
It is. 'Tis.
That has been it, ladies and gentlemen. But let us know in the comments down below. Do you think the artists deserve to be paid for these kind of dances? If not, or if they do, let us know. Like, let's hear what you have to say. We want to hear some good arguments, not just saying, oh, they deserve it because they created it. Give us some stuff on paper. We try to look up, like I said, the FIFA stuff, Michael Jackson. There really isn't anything besides choreography stuff that's really protected but in this kind of realm. But if there is anything like that, let us know in the comments down below. Create a case. Let's talk about it. And then maybe in another episode we can go back to a comment or something like that.